Fucking goated goated cheddar Chex Mix. It's weird. I don't like candy that often. Like, candy is one of those things that I could have, like, a ton of at the same time, but then I can't have it again for, like, 2 months. So if I'm gonna have candy, I'm not gonna have, like, a little bit, because I'm like, "Well, fuck, I ain't gonna have it again for a while, so why not?" Chips, on the other hand, I have way too often, but hey, you know what? You'll have what you put out. That's why I look like a fucking goddamn watermelon when you're like a fucking zucchini. See, I'm weird. I eat croutons like chips. Croutons. I eat croutons like chips all the time. Yeah, croutons are literally baked bread. Like, straight up, literally.
Yeah, again, that's what I thought. This live stream is presented to you by MaxspeedTV. All live streaming content that is presented in this telecast is owned by MaxspeedTV, Rudy Cummings, and the entire crew of MSTV. This may not be rebroadcasted, retransmitted, and retelevised without written consent. Please enjoy today's broadcast. We welcome you here tonight for the third race out of 6, getting set to go green for the iSCAR KBRN Street Stock Tour here at Darlington Raceway. My name is Ezekiel Reyes.
I'm Dewey Shram.
And I'm Kenneth Bueno.
We're getting set to go green here for 50 laps. Apologies about no overlays right now. My ATVO just went ape before the broadcast started. But anyway, we'll try to get that back up ASAP. But here for tonight, it's going to be a very interesting race, no doubt. A 1.33 mile racetrack, not your classic oval here tonight at Darlington. A lot of unknowns coming into this race, because this is the first time we're going to have this track car combo.
Yeah, Darlington is not the first track you would think of when it comes to racing on street stocks, but we decided to say screw it and do it anyway. And of course, Darlington's one of the more unique tracks already on the NASCAR circuit, so these guys are going to really be up for a challenge tonight. However, because the street stocks usually do have slower speeds compared to the cars, they should be able to run full throttle through all 4 of the turns tonight.
Yeah, it should be interesting. And just to note, this is the second largest track we have on the schedule. Of course, Charlotte, our final race, will be the largest track, a 1.5 mile track. We're looking at 1.366 miles here at Darlington. We've only covered short tracks, as we've seen Iowa and Dover happen. And those tracks were pretty much almost full throttle, pretty much almost all the way. And I think here at Darlington, you're going to go full throttle. You're going to go all out. And with the banking, it's going to help you a lot. We're going to see a lot of pack racing tonight.
Yeah, similar like the conditions that we saw at Dover, but instead, you mentioned about the banking here for tonight. This track is differently banked on each side of the racetrack. Not only that, the radius of the corners are also different. Turns 1 and 2 is way wider than turns 3 and 4. We'll get another overhead shot on how it looks like. You see on the right side, that's turns 3 and 4, and turns 1 and 2 has a way wider radius. And this allows for a bit different racing. It singles out the groove just a bit, but not by too much. As you mentioned, this track is, this car is going to go full throttle most likely throughout this whole entire race here for tonight, but it's just a matter of how you're going to play your lines and make it all the way to the end.
Well, hopefully what you just saw on the screen does not happen during the race, but yeah, the way the turns are, oh my goodness, also compares to, or coincides rather, with the banking that these turns have. Of course, turns 1 and 2, the 2 wider turns, have 25 degrees of banking, just under Bristol, I believe, and then turns 3 and 4, which are more tight, only have 23 degrees of banking. So in the Cup Series, you'll see the guys break a lot more in 3 and 4 than they do 1 and 2, and a lot more of the Darlington stripes you'll see in turn 3 and 4. So perhaps if we have a long green flag run and the tires wear out a little bit, guys might have to start letting off in 3 and 4 towards the end of the race.
Yeah, and you mentioned one term that's very familiarized here at this racetrack. It's called the Darlington stripe. You're running right up against that safer barrier, but some way, somehow, Lady in Black's gonna snatch your car and put that car on that right side into the wall somehow. But all these drivers have to stay patient with their car here for tonight. As you mentioned, it's a very demanding racetrack. Going to be interesting on how all these drivers are going to handle it here for tonight.
The one thing I will say, though, is we'll have to see it. Oh my god. As we get set to go green, I'm curious to see if they can run below that dotted white line in turns 1 and 2 at all. We'll have to see what the top speeds are here for these cars as the run progresses on, but I would not be surprised if somebody tries to make a move below that line in turns 1 and 2. And if it works out for him, you might see a lot more people try it.
Yeah, Dewey, that's a great point. You mentioned turn 1 and 2. Those parts are usually traditionally ran. You enter low, transition up high through the middle of the corner, and then start peaking back low a little under the dotted line coming off of turn 2. But my question and my concern coming with these street stocks when they're full throttle all the way through, I'm not sure whether we'll probably see those guys use those transitions to their advantage, or we might see some drivers just stay all the way down to the dotted line as much as they can, or even peak below that, as there's a little bit of banking there to work with these cars. And if you're going full throttle, might as well use all the space you can get. Here at Darlington, that could be the advantage we see tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about it, but as we wind down for practice right now, currently on top of the board is Hunter Johnson. So I think draft is also going to play into effect as well, so the speeds will be a bit higher than what we see on qualifying. That might make the car either tighter or looser. I'm not really sure on how this car is set. Kenneth could go ahead and fill me in on that because he tested the car I don't know how long ago.
Yeah, I tested a little earlier tonight. I was just today in the afternoon. I was just trying to look to see how the car really handled because I never really tried this car out. It was an official race in the iRacing official street stock series a couple of weeks ago, about a month or two ago, and I didn't really go on that and try that out myself. But I went to go to a practice session, tried it out. It's pretty much full throttle all the way through. But I think the best thing to know is as the tires fall off, and if we get a longer green flag run, which we haven't seen too much in the series so far, I think that we'll see a lot. We'll see a lot more drivers try to lean off of the throttle, especially coming into the tighter corners in 3 and 4. Use the draft to their advantage, peak for some moves, and make a little bit of strategy out there.
Well, Hunter Johnson wasted absolutely no time in getting himself adjusted to the bigger tracks here on street stocks. Of course, he's won both of the street stock races so far this season at Iowa and Dover. And even though we're at a much bigger track here tonight, he's still up at the top of the board and leading points by over 20 points. So checkered flag out here for practice. Hunter Johnson wins the practice session, so we'll scoot ourselves off to the side, and we'll be right back with qualifying and the race as we salute our nation's colors.
We welcome you here back live for the iSCAR KBRN Street Stock Tour, currently under qualifying conditions as of right now. Drivers trying to log in their fastest 2 of the night to get a good starting spot here for this 50-lap event, and no surprise to see that number 12, Hunter Johnson, top the charts.
Yeah, of course, he was the fastest in practice as well, and the fastest in practice last week, and the fastest in practice 2 weeks ago. So Hunter pretty much been fast everywhere we've gone and every session we've done. But hey, Michael Bianchini, who actually stole the pole away from Hunter last week at Dover, qualifying in second so far. So that 48 has really shown some strong speed here in qualifying, but now he's got to turn it into a strong finish at the end.
Just a quick fun fact about what we've seen this season, especially now that we're halfway through. Hunter Johnson has led 122 of the 136 laps run in this series so far. The only driver that has led laps apart from that, number 12, is the 48 of Michael Bianchini. So those two have been kind of added a little bit. I think Michael Bianchini is starting to look for a late charge coming to the second half of the season. It could be interesting to watch. He's third on the charts right now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. For that number 48, Michael Bianchini, it's been a while since he's been in victory lane as well. So that number 48 is definitely hungry and definitely want to get that number 48 in that top spot in victory lane.
Yeah, some quick track facts about Darlington before we take the green flag here tonight. It's a 1.366 mile egg, I guess, because it's kind of shaped like an egg. We mentioned the banking before, 25 degrees in turns 1 and 2, 23 in turns 3 and 4. Of course, we are in Darlington, South Carolina, a beautiful facility here. Air pressure is 29.75 mmHg, whatever that is, but yeah. The Cup Series has had 118 races here, and they've raced here for a long time, since 1950. Of course, Johnny Mance, the first Southern 500 champion. The Xfinity Series has raced here since 1982. They've had 60 races here total. The Truck Series has run here 6 times, most recently in 2011 when Casey Kane took the checkered flag here.
Woo!
And the Convertible Series actually went here a couple times in the 50s, and the precursor to IndyCar, which was Champ Car way back when, went here in the 50s too. So Darlington's had quite the assortment of cars added throughout its long and treasured history, and we hope to add it here with some street stock racing here tonight.
Yep, and qualifying rounds itself to the double zeros, and that will be it for Hunter Johnson. He's going to start himself up top. Yet again, a familiar scene for that number 12 to start himself up front. Rating is going to be shown right in front of your screen. Congratulations, as I said, Hunter Johnson starting up top, but right alongside of him, that number 44, Liam Sheen, starting second.
And in row 2, we've got last week's pole winner, Michael Bianchini, in the 48, and Christopher Wilde, who's outside in 4th.
Down to row 3, you'll find the 55 of Brody Garner inside the top 5, and just to his outside, a proximity racing entry, Connor Brannon.
For number 4 is going to consist of Dylan Bass in the 08, Nick Miller in the number 9, running for SPG.
And then rounding out your top 10 here tonight, Dominic Howe in the 58, and to his outside, Harry Grindle in the 70. The rest of the order will be shown on the bottom of your screen, so pick your favorite driver and hope they do good or win the race here tonight, as the field will grid itself up, and we should get rolling here shortly.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and show a bit of more track facts here in a moment, and race analysis as well, but some interesting people starting here for tonight. Corey H. Hartz, I don't know where he finished the last week. I think it was toward that top 10. I think he finished 3rd to Kiloa Hankins and Hunter Johnson. He starts himself all the way back in 15th place, and Kiloa all the way back in that 17th place spot. So a lot of these people who finished up front at Dover are going to be starting around that dangerous mid-pack.
I'm a bit surprised to see Aaron Mulrooney down in 18th place. I would have thought he would have a much better qualifying lap than that. So that 2 car is definitely going to have his work cut out for him here as the race goes on tonight.
Yeah, and also surprising to see is Andy McDowell. I saw him working pretty well in the practice session. He set a pretty good time. He was up within the top 10, I believe so. Now he's just about 20th or 19th starting tonight in the qualifying session. So not as good of a laps for him in the PPM entry. He had a couple good races in the past 2 races. He almost had a shot at the win just a week ago at Dover. He's going to have a little work to do tonight, but he can probably get it done. We'll see.
Looks like we'll have 32 cars roll off here for tonight's race, which I believe is actually the shortest field of the season, only by a couple though. Track temperature 82 degrees, so a bit warmer than the air temperature in the server here. Winds coming out of the south, looks like about 7 miles per hour. Mostly cloudy conditions here at the track. Pretty dry. So we'll see some rubber get put down early, so we'll see if it plays into effect at all during the race here tonight. But we're getting ready to get to go green here. I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, you mentioned about that track rubber being placed down here at Darlington. iRacing just did a recent update with the dynamic track and such, so maybe it might play a factor, maybe it might not. I'm interested in how it's going to go because this is a very skinny racetrack. The groove is only viable up to like 1.5 cars. Hopefully, you might see it play a variable here for tonight. iSCAR is going to scoot itself down pit road. My name is Iker Reyes, Dewey Stram, and Kenneth Bueno up in the booth here for tonight. 50 laps about to go into the books as they roll themselves off of turn number 4. Hunter Johnson at number 12 will lead into the green. We're green here at Darlington.
See a couple people in the back there didn't quite get lined up, but that should not be a big of a problem here. See the 44 of Liam Sheen going to try the outside here into turn number 1, but Hunter is going to do, or Liam's going to do a crossover here, and he's going to go below the white line. So this we're going to start to see people try to make that bottom side work, and Liam gets really loose on the bottom.
Here's Michael Bianchini right behind the 12 of Hunter Johnson, and Liam Sheen got a little loose down to the bottom, but it seems as though he's picked it up. He's fallen back to 3rd. Here comes the 48 to the bottom of the racetrack off of turn number 2. We'll see how that works down to the back.
Saved it.
Oh, got a spin. Kilo Hankins around. Oh!
Hankins up and over.
Might go over the wall.
Yellow flag is out.
Oh my gosh, another car just got nailed. I'm not sure who that was. It might have been Joe Berge.
75, Henry Tabor involved in there as well. So 3 cars go flipping here on lap number 1. Man.
Or Berge. Had some horrible luck.
His luck is just
Cole just sort of not paying attention there.
I think I saw Mitch Hobbs in that as well. He probably got a bit of a damage after the wreck. We'll just see what happened in the replay. That was odd to see.
Oh, a bit of stack up, I think.
Yeah, around where Mulrooney is at number 2, and Berge was just trying to avoid. Gets into the side of that number 72, and this was sort of off screen, and you saw it there, the hit down off of turn number 4, and Berge's car was flying up in the air.
Yeah, it started around Kiloa Hankins and Andy McDowell. I think somebody may have stacked up because of the really hard hit there. I think someone stacked up because of the 08 going around. We'll have to get another look at that here through the middle of turn number 3, but I saw somebody hit the wall, and when that happened, Andy got into the back of that 72. Looks like Sartaj came up into Mulrooney, and that just stacked everybody up and nowhere that 20 car could go.
It's basically like 2 separate incidents happening at once. Actually, not really. There it is, the 08. That's who it was trying to eye. I think it was Dylan Basin down there to the low side.
I wonder if Sartaj tried to move up because he thought Dylan was going to come back up the track and overcorrect it.
I think he was too far back really to be a factor into that wreck, but nice save for that 08 of Dylan, but unfortunately for Kiloa Hankins, all those drivers toward the back. Yikes, their days.
That might be the highest I've ever seen a car launched in an iSCAR event right there. I mean, Joe Berge got absolutely clobbered, but I'm not sure who that was, but the 75 of Henry Tabor had the same fate that Berge did. So unfortunately, all 3 of them are probably going to be packing their stuff up and heading home for the night.
And that's really bad for Kiloa Hankins. Finished 3rd last week at Dover, had a really strong night and was so close to a victory at charging in the final couple of laps, and tough to see him being involved in up and over especially.
Here's where points line up. Hunter Johnson leads points, but yeah, a lot of those people inside that top 10 involved. Mitch Hobbs, I think, was involved in that wreck. Kiloa Hankins, he was involved in that wreck as well.
Yeah, you see Sartaj. Yeah, Sartaj and Andy tied for 2nd in points. Sartaj, the catalyst of that incident, and Andy unfortunately got into the back of Kiloa. So that's at least 3 or 4 guys in this top 10 already with rough starts to tonight's race. So it sounds like Chris Warner may have blown his engine as well, in which case that'd make another guy in this top 20 with early issues here. So yeah, a bit of a rough night already for these guys.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that gives a sigh of relief to Hunter Johnson, who's running for this championship. All those drivers who were second on back. Oh, they're already wrecked, and maybe I could take this race a bit more calm than usual, but hey, he's trying to gun for his third record, 5 wins yet again, so, well, we'll have to see on what Hunter Johnson is thinking right now.
Yeah, of course, Hunter Johnson, the winningest iSCAR driver in league history and the winningest street stock driver in league history, so Hunter already has a well-known track record here in iSCAR, so at this point, in terms of what he's done in this league, all these wins are just gravy for him, but championships are championships, of course, and these have payouts, and I'm sure Hunter wouldn't mind some extra money, so here he is, dominating the field week in and week out, and we'll have to see if he can continue that here tonight, but hey, before we forget, and I probably know who you guys are going to pick. Who are you going to pick tonight to win this thing?
Kenneth, start with you.
I think, oh boy, it was tough to think about because I know I've been conventional with Hunter Johnson because it's easy to pick Hunter Johnson since he's been the most dominant driver. But I think I'm going to switch it up on my end. It might be a risky move that could possibly cost me the pick, at least in terms of getting it right. But I think we might see Connor Brennan make a good move for that win tonight. He's another proximity racing entry, so the team will still get the win if he does it. But I think Connor Brennan, he could possibly get a shot tonight. I think he can work well. I think he understands what Hunter Johnson's mindset is and how he's been able to run here between these past 3 races. I think he gets it done. He gets a checkered flag. His first time this season.
For me, I'm gonna be a bit ambiguous. That number 48, Michael Bianchini, he's looking strong. He fell back all the way to 7th from that initial start, but that number 48, I expect him to be back in victory lane here tonight. He knows how these street stock machines work. He finished 3rd at Iowa, I think, and close up in the top 5. I'm not really sure where he finished at Dover, but that number 48, this is his specialty. Here for tonight, and yet again at another big track, I expect that 48 to rummage to the front.
I'm going to go with someone we haven't seen much of this season, especially in this street stock series. Of course, someone that did very well in our IMSA series back in Summer Series Part Number 1, and that driver is the 55 of Brody Gardner. Of course, he's sitting up there in 4th place right now. Like I said, hasn't really run much by way of street stocks here so far. I'm not sure if he's run either of the first 2 races, but he's looking pretty good up on that high side so far, and I think he's got a real shot at the winner tonight.
Right, with all our picks set, I know Dewey has a score sheet of well, how all our picks have gone. I don't even know who leads that side of things.
I believe Kenneth does.
Yeah.
We have so the goal here, just a little sidetrack here, is the pace car will slide itself down pit road here, and Hunter Johnson will step on the gas pretty early, and we're back green here at Darlington.
Oh!
Well, contact.
Green flag, green flag.
Not really sure what
something
Liam
seems
Sheen was
off here.
thinking there.
The whole field seemed to dive down below.
Oh, we got a wreck!
On the wall.
Oh.
That's the 59 of Ryan
Yellow,
Berry
yellow,
into the
yellow.
outside wall, and that's going to take a couple people out with him as well, and that'll be another quick caution, and somebody just plowed right into him.
I think that might have been Garrett
Oh.
Hess. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but 59, Ryan Berry goes around. Sartaj was also involved in there as well. We'll take a replay, and there it is, into
Berry
the
definitely
outside
came up.
wall.
Yeah, the 59 definitely came up when he wasn't cleared to there, and there you see the 86 of Garrett Hess, nowhere to go.
We got
Yeah, they
4
were
wide.
4 wide going into turn number 1, so Barry really didn't have anywhere to go. It's just an unfortunate timing there. And I think he might have gotten hit again here, but yeah, when you're 4 wide into turn 1 at Darlington, which never happens in real life, there's just no room on the racetrack to go anywhere, and unfortunately that 50
Wow.
man, that's like the 3rd time we've seen that in the street stocks already this season. That's got to be a glitch with the car, that they keep flying up in the air like that. Because we saw Joe Burgee do that at Iowa 2 weeks ago, and obviously the car should not be doing that.
Fortunate to see early cautions here at Darlington, but all these drivers just trying to get through up the gears. You saw how that restart went with that number 12, Hunter Johnson. He used that whole apron to an advantage. He has a lot of wrestling room down there to hit the throttle and sort of shortcut it. And you don't... You usually don't see that on, especially at a track like some other tracks, but that apron is huge. It's like twice the size of what the actual racing surface is. Hunter Johnson is just using that to his advantage. And you also see this on the official side of things. It's not like something out of the blue. For that number 12, Hunter Johnson, he could use that apron to an advantage and get a good pull away for about 2-3 car lengths. But unfortunately, some drivers didn't get the memo in. Liam Sheen and Connor Brandon made a bit of contact there. Coming off of that 4th turn, and they nearly went around. I think Sheen was expecting for Connor not to be down there because of how that restart went.
Yeah,
what I noticed. Oh, go ahead, Dewey.
No, you're good.
What I noticed on that restart, especially on that outside lane with Liam Sheen, you saw the contact between him and the 92, but then I saw the 44 get a pretty good run behind the number 12, but as soon as they were entering turn 1, I think it might have possibly been a shifting mishap, maybe for that 44, because I saw that inside lane just shoot to the bottom of that car. It didn't seem he was going too fast, and then obviously the yellow came out to stop all of that. But that was a kind of an interesting situation, possibly a shifting mishap for that 44 team.
Yeah, that almost looked like a fan out at Pocono versus a regular Darlington restart. They were almost looked like 5 or 6 wide coming to the line, but of course they had to get themselves situated quickly so nobody got a black flag on the restart. But even that like one little straightaway of green flag conditions shook that top 10 up. You see Harry Grindle now in that 70 car up to 4th place. He gained about 4 or 5 spots just in that one straightaway. So that proves that if you time it right, you can really gain some positions here quickly.
Yeah, Kenneth brought out a good point about the shifting here. It's not just a Darlington thing. This is a street stock in which you have to use the clutch. You gotta time your clutches right, or else once you shift up to your next gear, you're gonna miss the shift, and that thing will hit neutral and your car will stall. You don't want to do that, obviously, because once your car stalls out, once you miss a shift, that whole line just jams up. This is a momentum-based car rather than, a fast-paced NASCAR vehicle, which you could just blip the throttle and get yourself upshifted really nicely. But you have to use the clutch in these machines, and Liam Sheen didn't go through the clutch really nicely there, and it jammed up that outside line. It might have been the catalyst there for that wreck. I'm not really sure, but that was probably why Bianchini shot down low. Under caution yet again. 39 laps remaining in tonight's race. If you're now just joining us here live, the iSCAR KBRN Street Stock Series, the Darlington 63.5 mile race. Under caution for the, I think, 2nd time tonight. Both of our cautions have been on the initial green flag lap, so we've yet to log in a clean, solid green flag lap, as we're now starting to get doubled up off of turn number 4. But hopefully these drivers sort their priorities out straight, and we'll get a good run in.
I think this just might be something a lot of these guys are unfamiliar with. I'm not sure. Of course, everybody here has run a street stock, and everybody here has run at Darlington, but I don't know how many of these people have run street stocks at Darlington. So this car and track combination just might be something a lot of the people in this field tonight are just unfamiliar with and need some time of getting used to. So hopefully those are things that get squared away pretty quickly here, and we can get a solid green flag running here before the night's over.
Yeah, that's definitely true for sure. And what we've seen the past 2 races, it's pretty much been a trend of early yellows, quick yellows early on. We have a couple drivers getting together, then getting into incidents while they're all bunched up together. And attrition may play a factor into this, like it has the past 2 races with Dover and Iowa. We saw a little longer run in Dover, but we saw some massive incidents in Dover. But we're still waiting on this long green flag run. I'm at least a couple of laps down here. I'm interested to see how that draft plays a factor, because with Michael Bianchini and Liam Sheen, it was working to be like a nice situation to talk about. But as the pace car comes off, we'll have Hunter Johnson, 92 of Connor Brandon. Proximity entries lead the field to green with Nick Miller, Harry Grindle behind. We're back green at Darlington.
And they're already 3 wide between the 55 and Brody Gardner. They need to go ahead and sort themselves out. And indeed they do, as Brody, I think, missed his shift. It jams up the outside line. Still 3 wide. Dominic gets turned because of it. And there's a big wreck in 1 and 2, involving at least 5 more cars.
Cole Woody in there. There's William Schmidt sliding down. 51 of Keelan Belcher gets a piece of that as well. That's going to be another restart caution. I think Menchu in there as well, but man.
I think that was the 3rd incident involving a peak performance driver. We saw Sartaj Mann be involved in incidents. Corey Hart's been involved in an incident. This is another instance of a PPM car being involved in something, obviously not the cause of it, but being a part of it after it happens. You see, going into turn 1, there was a checkup with the 55, and the 58 just got sandwiched, and then hard.
Mulrooney got
Mulrooney. Yeah.
It looked like Mulrooney net-coded through him, but Mulrooney probably definitely still has front-end damage from that collision. See the 69 of Menchu around as well. But yeah, you mentioned Brody missing his shift. He most definitely did right there, and nothing Dominic Howe could do, and I don't think Basin was expecting that at all. And there you see the 69 go around. So there's Corey H. Hartz with damage. Garrett Hess sneaks his way through.
William Schmidt was sliding himself down there as well, and he also got damage.
Yeah, you see the big slowdown that the 55 of Gardner had, and Basin...
Yeah, nothing Basin could do at all, honestly.
He was already inside of Dominic by the time they entered 1, so a bit like netcoding there as well, but Basin...
Yeah, Basin had a full head of steam. You just can't slow down at Darlington that fast, but you'll have to see who else involved. Because we're on board here with the 08, and yeah, it just was not expecting that much of a slow-up, but definitely some netcode involved in that as well. See Cole Woody spinning down there. Kiloa Hankins does a nice job of missing that 77, but see 2 peak performance cars in the wall there as well. So another early big incident, and we're just racking up caution laps now.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. Looks like half the field's going to enter pit road to get their machines repaired, but really sucked to see very early cautions as Kiloa Hankins in the 72. Benefit to him to get the free pass and put himself back on the lead lap. The only car a lap down is the number 59 of Brian Berry, who's also repairing damage as well. But I mentioned it earlier on how restarts go in these street stocks. If you miss a shift, everything starts to bottle up and jam. Unfortunately, it jammed up there right behind that number 55 of Brody Gardner. So, with caution laps taking fairly longer than I expected, we're going to scoot ourselves to the side, play you a couple commercials as we fill in this empty space. Be right back here live at Darlington. The iSCAR KBRN Street Stock Tour, currently working on 17 out of 50. We welcome you here back live here for tonight's event, iSCAR KBRN Street Stock Tour, about to go green here in a moment. Currently, Hunter Johnson and that number 12 leads the field alongside the number 9, Nick Miller. 92, Connor Brennan, Harry Grindle, Josh Patterson round out the top 5. Yeah, early cautions plaguing these first 20 laps. Hopefully, we'll get a green flag lap. Green flag run in and by.
Yeah, we're almost halfway through this race already, and we've had like 3 green flag laps. So, yeah, you see right there, we've had 15 of the 18 laps run under caution so far. But hopefully, this restart is the start of a green flag run, and Hunter Johnson will hit the gas really early, and we're back green here at Darlington.
Yo, Michael was in that number 48. He tried to shove it 3 wide against one of the machines, but they worked themselves into 1 and 2. A bit of a jam up right there. Sertaj Man and Michael Bianchini is, but they all sort themselves 2 by 2. All these drivers are starting to scramble around from position as the 44 Sheen pinches the O2 off the corner. Narrowly caused a wreck there.
They are 2 wide, a couple rows deep between those drivers, and you see Connor Brennan to the bottom side of the 70 of Harry Grindle, and here's a battle for the race lead with Nick Miller to the bottom of Hunter Johnson. Can't get it done. The door shutting at the right time off the corner, but the draft might help him off the front straightaway.
As we do have a green flag lap here at Darlington, Hunter Johnson still the leader here. I'm really impressed with that 70 of Harry Grindle, now up to 3rd place after starting, I believe, in 10th. So that 70 car definitely having one of the better nights in the field here so far. Car on the wall out of turn 2. That's a big hit for that tie-dye car. I think looks like that's the 80 or the 27. That is Ryan Kendrick. So it looks like somebody entered with Ryan's 00, unfortunately. So he's in the 27 tonight, but he's going to have to definitely recover from that, as that was a pretty big hit.
Meanwhile, up front, battle for the lead as the number 70, Harry Grindle, gets into the mix as he's working right up against that high side. Top 4 pull away as Liam Sheen sort of causing a bottle up right behind here as he's attempting to pinch the O2 of Patterson right up off the corner. Harry's on the wall, and Douglas Miller hard into the inside wall, but I think that won't be a caution because he's off track.
No, it won't.
That's just too bad.
He's under the apron, so no yellow on the racetrack. What a
But that will be a yellow. Oh my
gosh!
god!
Oh my goodness.
Bason's, oh man, there he is, and he got launched.
Second car we've seen way up in the air, and you see William Schmidt
There's
also
Schmidt.
get damage.
Yeah, it looks like Schmidt's just going to drive backwards to the pit road entrance there, but man, Dylan Basin just flew.
And those were the 2 Nova Sim Racing guys. You see Dylan Basin get tagged, and then into the air with Mulrooney, and then up in the air once again with William Schmidt. Oh my goodness.
Hankins in the wall right there. Yeah, that teal and black car got into the bumper of that 08. I'm not sure who that car is, but just got right into that 08 and turned him right around. But you'll have to get another look at that to see who. Looks like that's the 00 of Kevin White Jr. And right here just got right underneath that 08 car and got him right around. And gets lifted up by Mulrooney and then gets really hit there by the 79.
Whoa.
Kendrick drove right under him. That'll be a hell of an onboard shot for that 27.
Kendrick
That's like
his classic number, but we're gonna onboard that number 27. It's freaking stuff. He's a big wreck right in front of him. Schmidt's gonna jack up the 08 into the air. Oh my goodness!
Man,
He got lucky.
that's the 5th or 6th flip we've already had in this race tonight. Of course, Henry Tabor, Joe Burgee, you see Basin right there. Barry had the glitch flip, so the flips have definitely been racking up here tonight. And of course, we saw Nick Miller get turned around on the backstretch right before that caution came out. So perhaps you can get a look at that as well. But I think Harry may have gotten into the wall at turn number 2 and just bounced off right into that 9.
Yeah, that's right. I'll try to get a replay of it. It's going to be a while since far back from where the caution initiated, but Nick Miller on that number 9, he has a lot of damage on that machine. I don't think he's going to be competitive because he slammed the inside wall. I'll have to look at it again, but it's going to take me a while. Apologies about that, but here it goes. I'll have to fast forward it. Apologies. Awkward silence, but
think it's 2 laps after this. We had a 3 or 4 lap run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, those two incidents were completely unrelated. But on that incident with Nick Miller, you saw the 70 of
here it
Harry
is.
Grindle. Yeah, I think here might be what we're seeing. Here was the restart. Miller was looking low. And one of the things I've been surprised about is that outside lane has their own ground. You know, Nick Miller was just desperately trying to get to the bottom, trying to get that race lead. But then the outside line was really working ahead of the 9 car. You see right here, Harry Grindle gets under.
Yeah, there's where Kendrick got the wall in the background also.
Yeah.
Man, you got to do
Just
another
slapped
lap.
it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it's right here. Yeah, this is where Harry got
Right
the
there.
run. Yeah, Harry had a run out of 2 right here, so I think he might have just tapped it. He may have gotten help from Connor, but just got sent right back down to that 9 car. So I guess a lucky break for the 70, but at Nick Miller's expense.
Another replay of it. Fast forward again.
Yeah, that outside lane was hauling with Harry Grindle, Connor Brandon, and then I think Harry Grindle might have just misjudged how fast he was going off the corner. And
we'll see right here.
Right off the wall. Right there.
Oh, I just tapped it. Yeah.
He only says 30 seconds of damage, so might not be too bad, but Stay's gonna be shoved all the way to the back. Wave around goes to the number 59 of Ryan Berry, but had himself on pit road. Watching still. That time we got a longer green flag run in, but unfortunately.
Same end result, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
I'm expecting a green white checker the way this race is going.
So the top 10 now, with the amount of cars that have been in incidents, there's quite a few people in the top 10 that have at least a little bit of damage. You see Andy McDowell in the 20 involved in that first incident where Kealoha Hankins flipped into the pit wall. Garrett Hess, who got into Ryan Barry on our second caution, and Sartaj Mon there in 10th. So 8th, 9th, and 10th all have crash damage so far. And of course, Harry just got some right side damage with the contact with Nick Miller. And you see from 23rd on back, already a lap down. So almost a third of the field, at least one down or more. So attrition definitely starting to play into effect. But we're over halfway now, so believe it or not, with all these caution laps, time really is running out for those guys to try and get by Hunter Johnson, because the more caution laps that we run, the less time they have to pass.
Yeah, more proximity cars in this top 10. Hunter Johnson, of course, Connor Brandon to his outside. You look a little further back into row 3, you'll find Chase Bonser. So those guys, and then Dominic Howe a little bit farther back, a couple of rows deep. And of course, Harry Grindle up there, row number 2. You see Nova Sim Racer, the 02 of Josh Patterson. Of course, his teammate was taken out, Dylan Basin. You see Michael Bianchini, the only real challenger to Hunter Johnson, back there in row number 4. Green flag back out once again. Hunter Johnson leads with a real start. Michael Bianchini all the way down to the apron. They might go doing turn 1 with a head of steam.
3 wide up through the middle goes the 58 of, that's Dominic Cow, and he makes it work. Michael 4 wide around where Menchu is, but they all sort themselves nicely. But in the front, we got a bit of contact as all the way to the apron goes the 81 of Chase Sponsor. He has him merge up to the pack. That might be a wreck. It is not, though.
Somebody got the wall right there to turn 2, a blue car. I think that was the 50. But Hunter's pulled away a little bit here, and Brandon, his teammate, now up in that second spot. We've got another car on the wall. That is the 49 of Sartaj Mon, riding that wall through the middle of turn number 3. But we stay green here at Darlington.
It stays single file. Connor Brandon files into second. Hunter Johnson still with a considerable gap. Then you'll find Harry Grindle, and then the Nova Sim Racer of Josh Patterson, Liam Sheen behind them, Andy McDowell. Those guys filed up together as well. And then Chase Bonser. Pretty much everyone got single file. This is the first time we see a green flag run here, guys.
Hankins in the wall big time.
Yeah, all these drivers
a lot
having
of people
trouble
getting the
toward
wall
the
at
back.
turn 2.
Yeah.
That's the 5th or 6th person that's already gotten that wall to turn 2. So perhaps those guys are just misjudging where they're trying to exit the corner, and they're just slapping that right side down.
You see that interesting line that everybody, that whole top 5 took their 3 and 4. That's a very traditional Darlington-like line. You want to be right up against that safer barrier to get as much momentum through the corner as you can. And here comes the 70. He's going to try to make a move to the 92 of Connor Brandon. We'll see if he can make it happen. The 02 of Patterson being a bit hesitant and wanting to go ahead and fill the gap up on the high side and leave the 70 out dry. And here we go through 3 and 4 side by side. Oh, car on the wall. That's the 44 Sheen. He might come down to the 20, but he doesn't.
Another car on the wall as well. I think that's Dominic Howe, and that black car also into that wall. But looks like we have a 7-car breakaway here for this lead, and it looks like Bianchini and Howe, the first car, is not in that. Yeah, Harry's still in that 3rd spot, and we have a battle here for 4th. That is Andy McDowell now looking underneath Josh Patterson for that spot.
Andy McDowell was on the outside looking in on that first portion of the run, but now he's getting up a couple spots since Liam Sheen hit the wall, and Chase Bonser now with pressure with the 44. A couple drivers in the wall there to get together. That was Connor Brandon as well. It seems as though Harry Grindle will file back into line, but Connor Brandon, I think he's trying to strategize his move on how he'll make the pass. We haven't seen the inside line work too well, but that 92 could be making a move within the next couple laps.
I think the only way you got to really make a move coming into turns number 3, as Liam Sheen might have gotten put off the wall right around where Chase Bonser is. Liam has been pinching really, really hard on that number 81 to keep his position. But I think you got to sail it into 3 and what we like to call a slide job maneuver. Put yourself in front into the entrance of the corner before he gets a run on you right up off. And for that 92 of Connor Brandon, he's just playing the waiting game on when you want to make that move. And how are you going to do it as you see the 02 of Patterson going to peek down to the 70 of Harry Grindle. Can't make the pass happen.
It almost seems like we're at Talladega when we're talking about waiting to make a move. And, of course, you never, ever hear that said at Darlington, but with the way these street stocks run and you're almost full throttle through the turns, it's all of a sudden within the realm of possibility.
Oh!
And there goes Patterson around in front of McDowell, and they're going to stack up here into turn 3. Yet another caution here out on the track, and I think Andy just got right into the back of that 02.
Yeah, he was riding into the back of him, and that was bound to happen, especially at a track like Darlington, where you put the bumper to somebody. Not going to help anyone, and on board with the 20. I think McDowell's intention was to push the 02. Already had the run coming in at 31 from the bottom side, but man, he just, unfortunately, just straight ran over him.
Absolutely nowhere for that 81 of Chase Bonser to go either. I don't think he got that much damage. So he hit Andy a couple times, but perhaps no worse for wear. And it looks like those are the only 3 cars involved, so perhaps a bit of a break for the rest of the field that they were all able to avoid that. But unfortunate either way for both Andy and Josh, because they just lost all of their track position.
Yeah, Chase Bonser with a couple of damage to that front bumper. I'm looking at his race car right now. He's got considerable amount of damage to that front bumper. I don't think it'll affect him too much when it comes to performance, but when it came down to that incident with Andy McDowell and the 02 of Josh Patterson, he got a little bit of piece of that, and he really had nowhere to go. He was all the way at the high side. It was just easy for everyone else behind him to anticipate and go all the way down the racetrack, but tough situation for Chase Bonser. He didn't lose too many spots, though. He's just in the top 5.
So we're coming to 15 to go. So as weird as it sounds, we've run 22 of our 34 laps under caution, but still a fast-paced race either way. So for Connor to be laying back, he can't do it for that much longer, because if we have another restart crash, that'll take another 3 or 4 laps off of this race. So in reality, Connor probably has only 4 or 5 laps realistically to really make that move on Hunter, because again, if we have another restart wreck or 2, all those laps that are still listed on our ticker will no longer exist.
That's right, but there's also overtime attempts that you can make happen here. It's just how many attempts we're going to use, though, because I'm expecting
probably all 3 of them.
Maybe.
I mean, at the rate we're going, it's entirely possible, but it's unfortunate, though, honestly. I mean, we, of course, had a pretty decent-sized field here tonight, and we're just slowly but surely chopping at the bit here to, you know, looks like we're only down to about 20, 21-ish cars left on the track. Looks like 23 out of the 32 that started here tonight. So hopefully we can potentially go green here to the end, but man, that wreck shuffled the top 10 out once again.
It did.
Yeah.
We saw Harry Grindle trying to make a move for second place under the 92 of Connor Brennan, and by that time the yellow came out, so really didn't get an opportunity to show what he had to that 92, and he's kind of put on some pressure to those guys, especially Connor Brennan. He had a miracle that 70 for the past couple laps during that run where they were going single file. He had the draft to get up to that 92, and when he had the opportunity, he was looking low to try and find the pass, but just couldn't do it over the past couple of laps. But Harry Grindle, he's making an early threat as we wind down this race.
For that number 70, I think it's just going to depend on how this restart will play to his advantage. He's going to be starting on the low side in 3rd place. He could follow that number 12 all the way down to the apron in turn number 4, but for Hunter Johnson, that number 12, I think he's in the best position out of all these other drivers. He has to keep himself up front, and I think he could easily fend off his position out there up front. All you have to do is just block that high line, all you have to do is just clog that high side. That bottom side hasn't really kicked in either, so I think for that number 12, Hunter Johnson, all from this point forward is defense.
Yeah, and of course Hunter's led every lap we've run so far tonight. But yeah, you mentioned the bottom side not really coming in. Of course, with all these caution laps, there hasn't really been that much by way of rubber put down on that bottom side. Of course, the more rubber down on the track, the more grip there is. So with the amount of cautions, there's really not been much by way of opportunities for that rubber to be put down. So, of course, the bottom, as a result, really never came in tonight. So, as you said, as long as Hunter maintains that high side and blocks it enough, he should be okay. And quite honestly, I would not be surprised if he chooses the high side here on this restart.
That's right, but there's also advantages for picking the low side again. We mentioned the apron-like restart, which Hunter, once the pace car comes in turn number 3, he could just drive it in all the way to right up against that inside wall and get a good, nice restart that way until the draft starts to kick in on the backstretch. But for that number 12, Hunter Johnson, he's in the best seat as of right now.
Yeah, he's in the catbird seat, and he's been like that all season long, just up front, and as these cautions are coming out, just staying in first place, waiting for an attack by anyone behind him, and so far it has not been successful. And I'm curious to see what Connor Brennan is able to bring to the table. He's been on his back bumper over the past run. Of course, when you have the draft, you don't really want to swoop to the inside, because if you don't get the run, you could easily be freight trained by the guys behind. Harry Grindle, those guys behind. Chase Bonser before the incident. There was Liam Sheen in there as well. Now Andy McDowell on the outside of row 2. So it'd be interesting to see how that works, especially with Connor Brennan to the high side. We'll see if he can get a just as good of a start and really plan what that 12 is doing off of turn 4.
Up, and here we go. We're going to have another shot at a restart this time as the 70 Harry Grindle is going to be behind the 12. Pace car is in, and this time Hunter does not want to wait to turn 4. And now he does, and he drives it all the way to the apron. Is going to scramble the field a bit as Liam Sheen's attempting to fill a hole that's not existent anymore. Green flag is back out, and Hunter's playing defense coming into turn number 1.
See, Andy got by the 70 of Harry right there going into turn number 1. So
we got a wreck.
Yes. Chloe Hankins involved as well. More cars up at the outside. That's Kyler Wynn in the 084.
No caution?
Kendrick in the 27.
Cannot believe that was no yellow.
Wow, that was like 6 or 7 cars that all piled into that wreck. We'll take a look at that later on. A couple cars almost got the wall right there, but somehow keep off. We might be 3 wide here at a turn 4.
That was a lot of drivers packed in together. As you saw, Andy McDowell was trying to swoop to the inside of the 92 of Connor Brennan. Here is the 48 of Michael Bianchini to the bottom of the racetrack under Liam Sheen, with the 58 and the 55 following suit under the 69 of Jackson Menchu. A little bit of a wobble from the 20 up front, but here might be a pass from that 70 as they go draft down the back straightaway.
Here we go into turn number 3. Top 4 all under a blanket as McDowell's going to have an attack to the low side of that 92 of Connor Brennan. But it's not going to happen as Connor gets a nice run. And not only that, he has the draft at the 12. And Hunter, I was about to say Hunter, but Andy just filled in that gap right in front of that 70 of Grindle. And they go single file yet again in 1 and 2.
Yeah, this might come down to a matter of getting a drafting partner. So you have some contact there between Bianchini and Sheen there in the middle of the turn. Sheen's going to get the ball, but they're going to keep it going. Yeah, but as I was saying, this is probably going to come down to having a drafting partner. Of course, Connor and Hunter, proximity racing teammates. So, of course, Connor will try and work with him to make sure he wins the race. So, Andy has a nice run here on the bottom
Oh!
side. Oh, man, Nick Miller hard into the outside wall.
He flies back up the track, and the car
Up and
topples
over. Another
No,
flip.
he stays
No
on the apron. No
caution.
yellow. No yellow.
Another no call.
Cannot believe it.
Yeah, but yeah, with Andy on the bottom, he keeps getting these good runs, but he just has no drafting help down the backstretch, so he can't finish them off. It looks like Harry will try it now into turn 3, but...
Oh, Connor's in the wall! 3 wide now is... Oh, there they go!
Chase goes around, saves it.
No caution
Another
again!
no caution.
Oh my goodness. No yellows on either of those
Unbelievable.
incidents.
All
iRacing's
3 of
had it
those
with
should have
all
been
these
cautions, and they
cautions.
weren't. That's insane.
Again, as I said, iRacing has had it with all the cautions that's been going on for this first half of the race. That's why there's probably none being called here. But right now, Hunter Johnson and Connor Brandon are about to duke it out, but Harry is not letting go of this top 2.
Check out Beyond Cooney. They're up to 4th place now with all those incidents going on. He qualified up there to see Andy in the wall once again. I think he might have just drove it in too deep again, but you see, that's the 0-0 of Kevin White Jr. up there. He actually, I believe, was lapped a couple laps ago. We'll have to see if he pulls down to the bottom or not, but this could be a... Whoa,
Oh my gosh!
waited way too long.
Yeah, way too long. That might have scared
That
Hunter and
bumped
checked
him
him
up.
up a bit.
Yeah,
I'm
they may have a
surprised.
run here down the backstretch, but again, I think Connor's going to try and help his teammate here to get that win. So I think for someone else to win, I think Beyond Cheney and Harry may have to work together against a common enemy here.
See, to the bottom of the racetrack goes to 48. He still can't get the run of the bottom. We have not seen anybody successfully maneuver the bottom over the guys on the high side. Harry Grindle continues to make the move, and as they do that, that'll allow the 2 proximity entries, the 12 and the 92, to continue to pull away. As we've seen, Connor has not been making moves. He's been up to that back bumper, and he continues to just shove it instead of trying to go down the inside, because I think he knows that if he goes to the bottom, it's not going to be the best move for him. I think he might try to do something to the outside, but we've got 5 laps left. This could be the end.
Yeah, for that 92, he wants to push that number 12. He wants to put the pressure on him, in which Hunter overdrives the corner and might hit the outside wall doing it. But for that number 12, a Hunter, you gotta be careful with what the 92 of Connor Brandon is gonna do with you as they head into turns 1 and 2. Harry with a huge run to the backside of the 92, but is not gonna make a move. Maybe he wants to push the 92 to the lower part of the racetrack. Here he goes, Connor's on the low side.
I thought Connor was going to clip Hunter's back bumper right there, but did not. Yeah, I still think Connor wants to just stay behind Hunter. I don't think he wants to move down low and pass him. But here we might have a change of position. If Bianchini looks like he'll go up high, but I was going to say if Bianchini and Harry possibly work together down the front stretch, they may have had a run on Connor. But with Connor trying to stay tucked behind that 12, it's going to be difficult for either of them to get by.
Oh,
Boy,
Harry
Harry
gets shoved to the apron. I cannot believe Connor. Oh, Hunter's in the wall.
Hunter in the wall!
Here
Bianchini
comes Grindle
contact.
and Bianchini 3 wide.
All 4 of them had contact somewhere.
And this might put the picture for that number 69 of Jackson Menchu into this 5-car battle, make it a 7-car battle now.
Dominic Howe and Andy McDowell up there as well. All 4 of those guys hitting the wall and making contact made this a 6-car race with just 3 laps to go. But Hunter has still got Connor behind him. So even despite all that, this thing still might be Hunter. Now he blocks coming into turn number 2.
Yeah,
And that's
Hunter-
the first time Hunter was in the wall the entire race.
Yeah, he'd been protecting that high side all
Oh!
night long. And whoa!
Harry nearly clipped the 92.
Oh,
Connor
Harry
Brandon, they're
goes in.
squeezing right up off the
Contact.
corner. Oh, there goes the 92. There they go right behind.
Oh,
Jackson
right.
Menchu, Dominic Howe. And looks like that's the number 48
There's
of
the
Michael
caution.
Bianchini as well. Now the caution comes out, and a green-white checkered situation is going to fare up for that number 12.
That might be the race for Hunter right there.
That's right.
Wow.
I think this is Hunter's to lose now. But man, of all the incidents in the last 10 or 15 laps to cause a caution, that's not the one I was expecting to actually bring the yellow flag out.
Me neither.
Yeah, there were so many incidents where drivers are getting involved and they didn't yellow. Everyone went down to the apron, so the iRacing didn't register that as a yellow flag. We saw that with Nick Miller. We saw a couple other drivers. I think Kilo Hankins was in one of those incidents as well. And those yellows did not come out. But now that takes out a handful of drivers who were looking on the outside in. Dominic Howe, of course, one of those drivers that were trying to look for that race win if these guys started to mess up. And we saw Hunter Johnson and Connor Brandon get into the wall, and that almost created a really good situation for Harry Grindle and Michael Bianchini, but that was so tough to get around.
Yeah, perhaps we'll have to get some replays of those earlier wrecks when we come back for the post-race interviews, as they're a bit farther back in the replay. But yeah, I mean, all four of these guys had made contact into turn 3, and I think this started right there with the contact between Harry and Connor. And then right here, Harry really drove it in deep, and that stacked up Bianchini and Menchu, and Menchu just got sucked around right into that outside wall, and Dominic got clipped as well.
Now, yeah, that contact left Harry really, really low on the racetrack. Harry had to sort of get regrouped here, coming into 3. Try to back out of it, but unfortunately, you see all those drivers just squeezing it around, and Harry couldn't really do much, but unfortunately, right behind it caused a big jam up, as Michael also got in the wall as well. And you see Jackson Menchu getting tight. He gets in.
It's Andy got a piece of that. Yeah, Menchu on top of Dominic Howe. So that's another top 10 shakeup. You see Brody Gardner back up in 7th now. Cole Woody, who is involved in a couple incidents tonight, and he's now up to 8th. Looks like Dominic stayed out rather than pit for that damage, so he is in 9th, and Liam Sheen back up in that top 10 again. But man, this has really been an up and down race. But when it comes to this restart, at this point with only 2 laps to go, I don't know if anybody can get by Hunter at this point.
Yeah, you need to make a drastic move in order to get that win. You have to really put the bumper. We saw Connor that so many times, but not with the intention of moving him out of the way, just trying to give him that extra shove going to the corner, just trying to help him, but, this has to be it. If you're Harry Grindle, if you're Michael Bianchini, if you're any of the guys behind, you have to rely on those guys to really make a mistake or make a bonsai move to the bottom, which has been unsuccessful so far, or you just have to move the leader out of the way to get the win. But if you're Hunter Johnson, you have to continue looking into that mirror, find out what they're going to do, and you have to prepare for it because this could be big.
Yeah, no doubt about it. For that number 12, Hunter Johnson, he might be a sitting duck, honestly. I'm not really sure how this restart's going to fare up as if he pulls away from the rest of the field, but once that white flag starts to wave, that second car in line is either going to be Connor or Harry. All bets are off, and they're going to do whatever they can to snap that win streak of Hunter Johnson just constantly being in victory lane. And I'm pretty sure they're all tired of seeing that number 12 up front. They want to get by him and steal this checkered flag here tonight. Now just joining us here for tonight, iSCAR KBRN Street Stock Series here at Darlington. Gotta go green here in just a moment as these top 5 start to stack up yet again for hopefully the last time tonight. While green-white checkers are in effect, we're about to do our first attempt out of 3. We only have 3 attempts here in iSCAR. Who do you think, how do you think Hunter Johnson, like, is there any way Hunter is gonna lose besides,
The only way I can think of is if he spins the tires on the restart, and I just honestly don't see that happening, because of course, Connor's been working with him all race now, so obviously what will probably happen here, just like every restart we've already had so far tonight, Hunter will hit the gas pretty early on the bottom side, and will probably come up in front of his teammate, the 92 of Connor Brandon. That'll probably be the race right there as soon as those two get lined up. So, of course, with the bottom not really coming in, as long as Hunter stays up on that high side with his teammate behind him, that's all she wrote.
To be honest, I really don't see another driver winning without any sort of contact with that 12. If the 92 and the 12 continue to work like they have been, and the 92 doesn't want to make a move, that will be certified the end of the race for Hunter Johnson, and he'll take his 3rd win straight in this series. I don't really see anything happening unless a slide job happens, maybe some contact between the guys behind them. Hunter Johnson has had flawless restarts all race. I really don't see him messing up this time around, especially when it comes down to shifting. So, if you're the guys behind them, you have to execute this perfectly. This is your shot.
Yep, that's right, and this is the penultimate time for you to restart as well as you can, because if you mess up now, your race is going to be done. iSCAR is going to scoot itself on a pit road, field in the hands of that number 12, Hunter, and he hits the throttle early, and look how low he goes onto the apron.
And he'll probably come flying up the track. There he does, up to that high side here for the restart, and he's got Connor right behind him. So again, it's going to be really difficult for anybody to get by him, but Bianchini's going to try it here to turn 1. He may actually get the second spot.
And he got it. We got a wreck right behind. One car.
Huge
Make that
crowd.
2 up and over.
Sheen up and over. That's the 7th flip tonight. But Bianchini got second before that caution came out. I believe he did. So that could really shake this restart up. But that also means Connor will now restart behind Hunter rather than next to him.
Oh, boy.
But I think Bianchini actually got second here before the yellow flag. Yeah, I think Liam just pinched Jackson down to that bottom side, and Jackson just nowhere to go. And yeah, that's the 6th or 7th flip we've had. See Chase in there as well, and another PPM car. Looks like that's perhaps Corey H. Hart's. Not 100% sure, but yeah, I see right
was
there.
already down there, and with the apron, you know, you can't
Dominic with
pinch
the
like
pinch
that.
of
And Liam's been doing that constantly this whole entire race. It's
See,
finally time.
Klein did a good job there of getting through as well, along with Kyler Wynn. So, man, just another. That's the 3rd or 4th wreck now into turn 1 on a restart. But yeah, it looks like the ticker is in fact showing Bianchini in that 2nd spot. So this could definitely shake up the restart here, as Hunter will not be able to just come up right to his teammate again.
No, that's right, but his teammate's going to be starting in 3rd. So who knows? Bianchini might spoil the party if he nails this restart right, but Hunter, with his restart tactics of going all the way to the apron, I think it just gains him so much time into turn number 1 that I think the only way for him to get caught has to be on the white flag, and all Hunter has to do is just fend off turn 1 and turn 3 on entrance, and he has this in the bag. So for the 12, no sweat for him, unless he hits the wall.
Some notable drivers into this top 5. Josh Patterson is now back into the top 5 after having a little bit of time out of the top 5, so he's back in. Andy McDowell has been there for a while. He hasn't really shaken up too much in this grid. He's now in 6th. You'll find Cole Woody in 7th. Brody Garner, Dominic Howe among the drivers who was involved in that incident. Dominic Howe was involved in one of those incidents that did not cause a yellow. And then Ryan Berry rounds out the top 10. We have just 19 cars on the lead lap. Chase Sponsor, the first car under the lead lap. He was involved in that recent caution.
Oh man, so we're still under caution as you see one of the Blue Chew machines getting the wave around. That might be the number 55 of Brody Garner. Nope, it isn't. It looks like he's just pulling himself forward to go AFK and get himself situated and such like that. But yeah, Hunter Johnson, no pressure for him as long as he nails down this restart and gets a pull from 2nd place and 3rd. But Bianchini came out of nowhere on that restart. He like sort of split the gap, I think, from 5th all the way to 2nd place. And again, this is a momentum-based car. If you hit your shifts right, you get yourself up in position, I expect the person who gets through the gears and gets a good entrance into 1 to come out as the winner. But Hunter, obviously, having clean air, I'll have a great entrance coming into 1 as long as there's a car not under him.
So I guess we'll try it one more time here for the restart, and you see how crazy this race has been so far. Ryan Berry flipped within the first 20 laps of this race, and now he's back up in the 10th spot. So there's just not that many people left in this field. Looks like 18 or 19 people on track, and you know, obviously Hunter's led every single lap of the night. Bianchini got 2nd before that caution. Connor now to 3rd. Harry's still having a really great night. Been in the top 5 all night up to this point. See Josh Patterson there in 5th. He was involved in a wreck earlier. Everybody from 5th on down has been in at least 1 wreck today. So that just goes to show you when you have that many incidents, you're bound to have people with damage up in that top 10. So depending on how much that's actually engine damage versus cosmetic, I think probably that only top 4 are the only real people that have a shot at winning this race.
Yep, that's right, and oh boy. Good to see how this race is gonna go because for these people in the mid portion of this field right here, they're hitting they're really close to the incident mark. Like for Sertajman, he has 18 incidents already. He had to take a wave around. I mean, not a wave around, but
Well, the pass through.
yeah, a pass through to get himself.
Yeah, with all these incidents, yeah, there's probably a lot more people besides Sartaj that have.
Yeah, I was gonna list them off.
Yeah, probably the top 4 are the only ones that are really clean so far.
For Hunter Johnson is 0x, but Yanchini has a 6x. Hunter has an 8x. Harry 8x. Patterson looks like 8x. McDowell has 16x. So if he gets an incident on this white flag, he's gonna get moved all the way last on the lead lap. So that number 20 has to be very cautious.
Yeah, and if another caution were to come out, and we do have the third green-white checkered, of course, if he does pick up another incident point there, he'd have to go to the rear of the field for the restart. So Andy has to be really careful here. Of course, he wants to get up to that lead and potentially win this race, but when you have that many incident points, there's not a whole lot you can do at that point.
So here we go.
Yep. All bets are off as soon as that pace car slides on in. That number 12, Hunter Johnson, has to play it right. He can't get too good of a restart or else the draft is just going to suck him back up. Green flag is out, and he goes with the 92 of Connor.
Bianchini did not go.
Green.
The real question... we almost had trouble in the back. But I don't think Connor will be able to clear Michael here into turn number 1. That's Andy in the wall. That might be a pass-through for him. That may have been his 18X right there. And Harry in the wall. Oh, no, Harry, no.
Barry's gonna bump him out of the line. Into the wall they go, and Harry gets involved.
He's gonna go into the wall. No caution. And that'll be our third green-white checkered attempt. Bianchini's... I'm not sure who's got second place. That'll be key on the restart here. But that's actually a big break for Andy McDowell, because if he did, in fact, get more incident points, he'll only have to go to the rear on the restart versus being disqualified.
Oh, he only has 16x. So I guess he survived. Lucky. Yeah, he got lucky.
However, he'll have to be extra careful on this restart because, of course, this is the third green-white checkered attempt. So if he gets one more incident point, he'll automatically go to the back of the lead lap.
Yeah, that's right. And you see... it's like Brody got put in the wall. Harry just didn't get a good turn number 1, and Harry's just trying to correct the car, and Barry just gets into him, and
yeah, him and Dominic both got damaged there, and it's really too bad because Harry was in the top 5 for the entire race, and unfortunately now he's probably going to finish around 20th place, which is a real shame because he had one of the best nights of anybody in the field, and it's just too bad that it comes to an end like that. But yeah, right there, just got in the wall to turn 2 with the contact from Barry, and see right there a bit of contact with Sartaj and Kilo, but perhaps no worse for wear there. So, hopefully for Harry, you can, maybe there'll be a big wreck on the restart and you can pass some more people, but that's just a damn shame it ended like that.
Yeah, that shot from Barry just, he was already loose in 1 and 2, and that shot from Barry just added on to the mix. And one good day, 90% of his day was good up to that point, and that sucks. That really sucks. It's a very sour feeling of you're up in position to maybe finish yourself up in that top 5, and you get ran over by a dude who is not contentive up there. Not saying Barry is contentive. He has a lot of damage though. He's just trying to salvage what he can off of his day. That sucks.
Yeah, so Michael Bianchini will be second, Connor Brandon third. I almost thought that Connor Brandon got second off there, and it looks like they'll file back. He'll just file back into third where he was at the start of that restart. I was going to say it was going to be proximity 1-2 like it has been all race, but he's behind there in third, and Josh Patterson in fourth. He's had a little bit of a rough night. He's been there in some of the packs, and especially when they squeezed up together, he might have a shot at this if these guys tangle up.
So just a running fun fact, now we now have 2 people who flipped in this race in the top 10.
That's amazing.
Of course, Ryan Barry there in 10th place right now, and Kiloa Hankins, who was our first flip of the night, he's in 9th. And man, you want to talk about people that have come out of nowhere. That 914 of Cole Woody, who was involved in 2 or 3 wrecks tonight, he's in 5th place now. So he's on track for a really, really great finish, and he pretty much just avoided all the wrecks to get there. See Patterson in 4th as well. He's been involved in some stuff, and he's been all over the place tonight. He's still in 6th place, but as he said before, if he gets even one more incident point in these last 2 laps, he'll be right to the rear of this lead lap because he'll be over the incident limit. So I would not be surprised if, unfortunately for Andy, he drops out of this top 10.
Alright, let's take a look at incident points. For the 12, Hunter Johnson, he has 0 because he's been out of harm's way. He's led every single lap. I had to pull in Iowa to lead every single lap from the drop of the green. Michael Bianchini has 6. Connor, Josh, and Cole all have 8. Andy has 16, as well as Dominic. Sartaj has 22.
He should be disqualified then.
Yeah, he should be disqualified. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
that.
Yes, here the 17X is the pass-through penalty or being put to the rear of the field on the next restart. But yeah, 22X should be an outright disqualification, so that's
really odd.
Something to keep an eye out for. So even at the end of this thing, if Sartaj is still running in the top 10, that may not stay like that. He may end up being put to the back. We'll have to see what occurs there, but that's 2 PPM guys that are either at the incident limit or right near it, so they've both got to be super careful here on this restart.
Yeah, let me go through the list again. Brody Gardner has 8. Jeremiah Bethune, who we really haven't talked about, that number 50, who's been just sort of rummaging around that back half of the field, might finish up in the top 10 with a very quiet day. He has 10X. Garrett Hess has 12. Ryan Kendrick has 10. Matthew Klein, who's the 2nd cleanest car in this field, which is a big surprise, he's sitting in 14th place. The Liam Sheen has 12. Harry Grindle also has 12. Kyler Wynn has 8. Ryan Berry has 16. Chase Bonser also 16. Jackson Menchu, who's on pit road with 14X.
Yeah, so Chase and those 2 have to be really careful as well. So that makes 3 people still in the race, all with 16X. So wherever they finish, that may not be their final finishing spot, because I'm sure there'll be plenty of contact here on this restart, as there has been all race. But this is the final chance for Michael Bianchini, Connor Brandon, Josh Patterson, and everybody else in this field to try and get by that 12 of Hunter Johnson. He's led all but 14 laps across all 3 of the street stock races so far this season. So somebody, if no one gets by him here, Hunter may honestly just run away with the championship here halfway through the season.
Right, and here we go as they head into turn number 3. This time by pace car lights are off. If a caution comes out now, this race is official. Pace car scoots itself down to the pit road. They go on the pace car, and look at all those drivers drive to the inside. Patterson might get a black flag for driving under Bianchini, but the green flag is out, and all bets are off as they head into 1, and there's contact in the background because of it.
Well, Connor got in front of Bianchini, so oh, there goes 2 cars. That's Ryan Kendrick and the 50 car. I believe that's Jeremiah Bethune, both into the inside wall. That will not affect our race up at the front. But Connor got in front of Bianchini into turn number 1, so with those 2 proximity cars, 1, 2, that might be the race right there.
Down the back straightaway, Connor Brandon right to the back of that 12, but Michael Bianchini trying to make an attempt to get to the bottom and try to take away 2nd once again as they come off of turn number 4. Hunter Johnson leads them down to the white flag one more time around Darlington.
One more time around, and they head themselves into turn number 1, and yep, 3 wide right in the background. Is I think it's going to matter of how Connor's going to make this move coming into 3.
And one more chance for that 92 of Connor Brandon. Bianchini is right on his bumper as well. Connor's going to go low. Hunter blocks. Connor may have one shot here into turn 3, but Bianchini's going to stay high. He'll have no drafting help, and I think Hunter's got it here out of turn number 4.
Here we go off of turn number 4. They do it for 2nd place. Bianchini into the wall. They spin in the background. Huge wreck right behind. And crossing the start-finish line first. Hunter Johnson wins it here at Darlington.
Hunter Johnson 3 for 3 to start this season. Led all but 14 laps across all 3 races. This man is unfreaking stoppable here in these street stocks.
I cannot believe that. I saw the 48 of Michael Bianchini get to the outside of Connor Brennan, which is the first time that's ever happened tonight. And then I thought he was going to make the move going into turn 3, but they were dooring across each other, the 92 and the 48, and that basically just allowed the 12 to run away. Third straight win this season.
So congratulations once again to that 12 of Hunter Johnson on winning here tonight. And I imagine that these finishing results are unofficial because, again, you see Sartaj Mon there in 4th place, but he should have been disqualified for hitting the 22x incident limit. So the results on the ticker may not be the final results. So we'll situate that for you when we return from the break. You see the double burnout here between the two teammates of Hunter Johnson and Connor Brandon. So a great team win here for Proximity Racing. And they'll do a little car smooch there at the finish line. But yeah, Hunter's 3 for 3 on the season, man. I don't think anyone's going to catch him now.
No doubt about it. That man is on a mission, as the full result's going to be shown in front of your screen after 67 laps of racing here at the Darlington Raceway. Hunter Johnson wins it. Connor Brandon second. Michael Bianchini, who got put into the wall for third for that second spot, finished is in third. Sartaj Mon in fourth. Garrett Hess in fifth. Deloa Hankins, Bertie Gardner, Dominic Cal, Liam Sheen, and Matthew Klein with a top 10.
Nice finish for Klein. Kyber win in the 084. He has a nice finish of 11th. Harry Grundle recovers a little bit, not as much as he would have hoped to, but still recovers to 12th place. Ryan Barry rounds out 13th. Cole Woody there in 14th. Ryan Kendrick finishes in 15th. You see Andy right there. I guess Andy probably did get that incident limit, so it looks like that's back of the rear lead lap for him. Josh Patterson looks like he went over the limit as well because he's now in 17th. Jeremiah Bethune finishes 18th. Chase Bonsner in 19th, and Jackson Menchu 13 laps down rounds out your top 20.
You're going to 21st. You'll find the 77 of Corey Hart's 14 laps down. Nick Miller, who got involved in a handful of incidents at the inside wall, he finishes 22nd. Kevin White Jr., Aaron Maroney Jr., Dylan Basin, William Schmidt, 26th. Then Keelan Belsha, Henry Tabor, Mitch Hobbs, Joe Berge, who went flipping early in the race, finishes inside the top 30, and you'll have the final two drivers. Christopher Wall in the 41, 67 laps down, and Chris Warner finishes 68 laps under the lead drivers. He rounds out the field for tonight.
All right, and that'll do it here for this whole entire race, but stay tuned. We still got more to come as we're going to interview the top 3, Hunter Johnson, Connor Brandon, and Michael Bianchini, right after these messages. Welcome here back live for the iSCAR KBRN Street Stock Tour Darlington 5, rounding itself out here tonight, and yet again a familiar scene for that number 12 of Hunter Johnson. Pick up the checkered flag and into the booth. That number 12 goes. Hunter, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Man, Hunter, another dominating win here tonight as you fended off your teammate and your former teammate Michael Bianchini. Man, all bets were off once that white flag waved and they were starting to align right behind you, but you fended them off.
Yeah, those restarts were pretty crazy. It was never really guaranteed that I'd be able to hold the lead on any of those. It was a lot of the draft played a huge part. I was lucky that most of the times that people got around on me, I was able to hold it on the top, and that I also had Connor Brannon pushing me behind me. That was probably the key to the win that race. But overall, I mean, I just have to say that was like I made a lot of mistakes that race. I know I was in the wall at a couple of points, and really could have easily had my race ended there, but luck played my way. Seems like fifth time now, and pulled off the win.
That's right, Hunter. And man, this looks like a familiar scene to you here in Victory Lane. I don't know how many. You visited Victory Lane 5 times in a row in Season 5 and also the following season. So, Hunter, those next 2 races are probably going to look strong for you yet again. But going back to what you said in that statement, restarts. And you were pulling an interesting restart tactic as soon as that pace car slid in onto turn number 4. Explain how that went.
Yeah, me and Connor were quickly figuring out that restarting in like the normal or above the dotted line wasn't really working. We were kind of getting trapped, or we weren't really able to work together. So we just we coordinated that where we would both go down so that we could clear the field off the corner and be able to push each other into one. So that was that helped a lot. I don't honestly, I don't. If I didn't have Connor with me that race, I don't think I would have won.
Alright, but 10-4, and apologies, I'm going to correct myself. It was season number 4 and season number 5, in which it went 5 in a row. 5 wins in a row. So Hunter Johnson yet back in Victory Lane for the 3rd time in a row. Hunter, championship-wise, man, it's looking so good for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been taking one race at a time. I don't go into any race with like taking for granted that I could possibly win. I gotta put in a lot of practice every time we're allowed 30 minutes before, and I try to use that or all of that to my advantage, and it paid off again today.
Oh, no doubt it did. Hunter Johnson rounds himself on top in Victory Lane. Before we let you go, any sponsors want to thank you for tonight?
Yeah, I gotta thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. I also have to thank Proximity Racing. I gotta thank Connor Brannon, Jackson Menchu, Michael Bianchini. I gotta thank Chase Bonser, all the guys that helped with me today. Uh, they they're really good guys, and yeah, we'll just move on to next or tomorrow and try to win there.
Alright, about 10-4, Hunter Johnson looking for more, even though he has so many wins already this season. Hunter, you're off to a great start. I can't wait to watch you come into your next race, bud.
All right, thank you.
Just a side crazy fun fact for you guys. We've run 11 races in Summer Series Part 2. Hunter Johnson has won 5 of those 11 races. And between the 3 Street Stock Series races we've had so far, we've run 202 total laps. Hunter Johnson has led 188 of them.
Wow.
That's unbelievable. Alright, we'll go ahead and drag the number 92 of Connor Brannon. I think Dewey's going to take this one away.
All right, Connor, got a copy?
Yes, I do.
And you have yourself another runner-up finish. And man, Hunter was just talking in his interview about how much you were working with him for the duration of that race and how you guys kept diving down to the bottom on those restarts. How'd you guys plan that and make it work?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to finish good today. I have had a tough couple of weeks, and he's got one hell of a season going on. So I was just working with him today. And we just, the restarts are tough here. And the high side, you want to always have it entering the corners. So that was kind of our strategy, just to stay 1-2 so I could help defend and just so we could just have a good day for the team. and it ended up going really well. We had a crazy race, but almost wrecked so many times there, but it worked out good in the end.
Yeah, you definitely got your fair share of Darlington stripes here tonight. But yeah, you mentioned it. You guys just trying to defend everybody else, trying to get by Hunter, and I kind of figured as soon as you got behind him, you probably wouldn't have tried to make any moves for the win. But you still ended up runner-up finish, man. I mean, I guess if Hunter wasn't so far ahead in points, where do you think he'd stand for the rest of the season?
I mean, it's gonna be an interesting couple tracks coming up, but I think if we run like we did today and we're just able to have good teamwork, I think I'll be able to come up with some more good races.
Well, definitely for the Proximity Garage, definitely will be some good races here. Hey, man, before I let you go, any sponsors you want to thank for tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank Proximity Racing. Obviously, we did really good today, and I mean Michael Bianchini, he was obviously gave a lot of fun. I mean Harry Grindle too. It was a lot of good racing, and yeah, saw those guys up front. It was a really fun race today. Besides all the cautions, but it was fun.
All right, Connor Brennan rounds out in second place tonight. Hope to see you back for the rest of the series and for the summer series, bud.
Yep.
That was Connor Brandon in 90. We'll go ahead and drag in our third place finisher, and Kenneth will go ahead and interview Michael Bianchini.
First of all, Michael, welcome to the MaxspeedTV booth. You got a copy?
10-4.
All right, Michael. Well, you finished with a podium finish here tonight, third place behind Connor Brennan and Hunter Johnson. You had a really good look at the front, a good view of the front when it came to those final laps and those green-white checkered attempts. How did those final laps behind the wheel look for you?
Pretty crazy. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of sweating there. Because there's a few times the past couple restarts, I think, during the other green-white checkers where I got around Connor and I thought I had a chance to get around Hunter, but caution kept coming out or whatever. But yeah, it was crazy. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it was nothing short of wild up here in the booth as well. And you spent a good amount of that first half of the race under the you were looking through the middle of the pack there, and you started to carve your way through ever so slightly. You made your way up front. You made a challenge for second. You were making challenges for those positions. How were you really able to make that ground up? Was it really a case of the guys wrecking around you, or was it really just a case of the car getting better as the run kept going on?
It was a mixture of both. Of course, you guys know those two big wrecks that happened. I was able to avoid those and gain a good amount of spots, but I think I figured out as the run went on, I kind of was pretty decent in 1 and 2. 3 and 4, I was struggling, but yeah, I realized 1 and 2, I could make up a lot of ground on people and kind of pass a couple cars here and there.
All right, well, third place finish must feel good here at Darlington, especially with the craziness we saw throughout this 50-lap event. Before we let you go, you got any sponsors or teams you want to thank for making tonight happen?
Yeah, you guys for putting on the broadcast and my new team, Nova Sim Racing.
All right, Michael. Well, great finish for you. We hope to see you next week at Eldora. That's a whole nother bar park in its own right. That's going to be an insane race, and we hope to see you next week over there, putting in some laps and really contending for those wins.
All right, thank you guys.
That was Michael Bianchini in the number 48, and with that rounded out, that's the whole entire top 3 to the books. And man, with this race in, what'd you think of tonight's race? We'll start off with Dewey.
I mean, you guys saw it. There really wasn't, I guess, much to take away from the race besides, if we did manage to have a green flag run that was longer than about 10 laps, there was some really good racing out there under the green flag tonight, but unfortunately just too many yellows bunched up together to really get a solid race going in. But hopefully in the future, if we decide to run this car and track package again, maybe we can have longer green flag runs that time around. But you mentioned Eldora in the interview, Kenneth. Unfortunately, it has been canceled in real life for the truck series, so hopefully these guys can try and make up for that here next week.
I think the only takeaway I have from this race is really just a question. Who can stop Hunter Johnson? He's been so dominant. He's been up front early in these races. He's gotten poles. He's led practice. He's led qualifying. He's led the majority of the laps through the race. And he's always been there at the end to get the checker flag. But another takeaway, I think, is the early yellows. We've seen so much of those between the first half of this season. I really don't expect to see it change between the next couple of races with Eldora and Bristol and going to the finale at Charlotte. I don't see anything changing with that trend or early yellows coming out. And wherever you qualify, wherever you put yourself before those yellows come out will really matter when it comes down to finishing at the end of the race. But here we saw a bunch of drivers who were involved in incidents get back up to the top 10, finish well anyway. And you mentioned, Dewey, early in the broadcast, you said 2 drivers flipped. They were able to be in the top 10 at the end there. So it's still a wild card for the most part. I think early yellows really play a factor, and Hunter Johnson is just putting a staple on the field of how good he is in the Street Stock Series. Zeke?
Yeah, definitely. For that number 12, again, he's done this before, and he's just getting his stride back. He had a bit of a hiatus before this season started. For that number 12 of Hunter Johnson, man, he is on a roll. As I mentioned, season 4, he won 5 races in a row before he got declined by Garrett Hulsey, and I don't even know what number he was back then, but he got denied by Garrett at Charlotte with the last lap pass. So Hunter, the stars are aligning for him to maybe get revenge, to make it 6 in a row and be the first ever person here in iSCAR to win all 6 races. But he's done it. He's done 5 in a row. He lost the first one to Brandon Wilkinson at USA, but won the next 5 and ended up winning that championship as well. So for Hunter Johnson, oh my goodness, he's unstoppable, as you said.
Yeah, it's just one of those nights. It seems like in this Street Stock Series so far in this first half of the year, no matter what you throw at that 12 car, he's still going to come out on top. So thank you guys for tuning in here tonight for the Darlington 63.5 here in Darlington, South Carolina. For Kenneth Bueno and Ezekiel Reyes, Dewey Schramm will be signing off here for tonight. Be sure to come back for Modifieds, which I believe are at Thompson tomorrow, right?
Yep.
Awesome. So we will see you tomorrow night.